From ground war talk to global choke point crisis, the Iran conflict is now threatening the world economy. The Strait of Hormuz, the most critical oil artery on the planet, is effectively shut. With thousands of ships stuck and market on the edge, the big question, can the United States actually force open the Strait of Hormuz? Because this is not another war zone. This is the world's energy lifeline. The Strait of Hormuz carries a massive chunk of global oil and gas. Now that has been blocked. Now what is at risk is our energy security. Iran has widened the battlefield from land to sea by laying mines, deploying fast boats, targeting vessels. Tehran is turning the strait into a high-risk war zone. And not only that, now it's being reported that they are charging every ship $2 million for the safe passage. So the entire ball game is changed. Iranians are charging $2 million. Now, the big question is, can the United States actually reopen the strait? On paper, the US Navy, the most powerful Navy, has deployed a lot of vessels. Now, the intelligence is telling us that they have also deployed USS Tripoli. Now, USS Tripoli in itself is a different ball game because USS Tripoli is carrying thousands of Marines. So, USS Tripoli can allow the landing of the soldiers. What does it have? It carries F-35s, it carries Seahawk helicopters. It can be deployed to take on the Kharg Island, Iran's critical oil export hub, so that they can have foot on the ground. But more than that, it also means the United States can stay put. So when I talk about the movement of USS Tripoli, it is very, very important because it's an amphibious assault ship which carries 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit, and apart from 35s, it carries Ospreys, Seahawks and MV-22s. But the problem here is different. There is no strong global coalition yet. America is doing this entire operation with Israel alone. There is no political consensus. It's not like 1991. It's not like 2001. It's a different ball game. And Russians and Chinese are quietly helping the Iranians. So what is going to happen? How are Americans going to achieve this objective? Now let us listen to the bite of Benjamin Netanyahu on this.
I think that what has to be done is to have alternative routes. Instead of going through the choke points of the Hormuz Straits and the Bab el-Mandeb Straits, in order to have the flow of oil, just have oil pipelines, gas pipelines, going west through the Arabian Peninsula, right up to Israel, right up to our Mediterranean ports, and you've just done away with the choke points for forever. That is definitely possible. So I see that as a real change that will follow this war. But I also see this war ending a lot faster than people think.
So Benjamin Netanyahu is saying that make the Strait of Hormuz irrelevant. Now on this conversation point, I'm joined by Anat Bernstein-Reich, President, Israel Asia Chamber of Commerce. She joins me live from Israel. Thank you so much. Ambassador Veena Sikri continues to be with me, and Major General Rajan Kochar. Now let me straight away go to Anat Bernstein-Reich. She joins me from Israel. Madam, is this really possible, this sort of a military operation to open Strait of Hormuz? I mean to say, doesn't Israel and America entertain the possibility that it can turn into a perfect quagmire?
I mean, the question if U.S. can do it alone, and I go back to the question you posed, definitely the U.S. can. The question, do they want to do it themselves? They have Marine people on the ground or wherever they are, ready to get the go-ahead. However, I think that the U.S. wants support from its European allies, and they want the European also to participate. That the Europeans said, no, we support you, but from the distance, we are not joining forces with you. And this is not such a good sign for US because they want the international support. I think that it will be a matter of a few days until Mr. Trump makes the decision whether he goes by foot, as we say, or he continues the bombing, and the bombing will not solve the problem. It needs to be boots on the ground in order to solve this problem.
Okay. Ambassador Sikri, is there a narrative being built that the boots on the ground are important? Because, this has been the part of the first conversation also. And secondly, my question is, madam, because you were the first person to mention that the movement of USS Tripoli, that's the 31st Expeditionary Force, and people are saying that this can be used in that operation. On 23rd of March, it's going to reach the theatre of war, ma'am.
Yes, it is a very critical moment, and we do know that the difficulties in the Strait of Hormuz, they're open in theory for many countries, and of course it is closed for US and its allies, and this is creating huge problems of energy security for a large number of countries, including India. We would like the Strait of Hormuz to be open, but I think why cannot it be done by negotiation? Why do you have to bomb everything out of the out of the skies, as it were, and even raise the next level of boots on the ground? Is this question of boots on the ground being raised just putting the Straits of Hormuz as an option, that we cannot open the Straits of Hormuz unless there are boots on the ground? Why is that being linked up? I think the Straits of Hormuz opening is a point which can be negotiated. Iran is ready to negotiate and discuss it. We know they were ready to negotiate even in Oman and discuss the nuclear option, and they had agreed to a lot of concessions. But despite those concessions having been agreed to, they were bombed on the 28th of February. So now again in the Straits of Hormuz, first of all, many countries, ships have gone through. 3 Indian tankers have gone through. Negotiations are on for additional ships to go through. So it's not 100% closed. So I don't think the Straits of Hormuz should be used as an excuse for additional bombing, for additional boots on the ground. I think there should be negotiations. In fact, the Iranian Foreign Minister Araghchi has said that they are prepared to consider a solution where this will never happen again, that there will be a kind of a multinational agreement between all countries that the Strait of Hormuz should always be kept open. Of course, there is a discussion of the East-West pipeline that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu mentioned. There's the question of the IMEC. There's a good proposal that is under discussion, the India, Middle East, Iran, Israel, Europe corridor, economic corridor. All these are there, but these are all in the future. Right now, there's only 2 possibilities. One is to open the Straits of Hormuz. Second is the East-West pipeline that opens into the Red Sea, which runs through most of Saudi Arabia. So there are these options, but I think that the energy security for the world should not be jeopardized by the present operations by Israel and USA against Iran. This is a key factor which Israel and USA must accept and recognize.
General Kocha, your opening comments?
Karthik, I tend to agree with the ambassador. See, from a military point of view, I'll just make an assessment if you give me some time. The Strait of Hormuz is almost 170 kilometers in length. The widest part is 95 kilometers and the narrowest is 33 kilometers. There are only 2 sea lanes available right now for the movement of ships. One is 3 kilometers and the other is 3 kilometers, and there is a buffer in between of another 3 kilometers. So it's basically a 9-kilometer area which you want to dominate. You cannot dominate by Tripoli and whatever marines you have and all this Kharg Island and all these operations. It looks like a Hollywood sci-fi movie. It is not possible to do it on ground. Let me tell you, it's not an ocean, it's not a sea, it's a very, very narrow point. And even if Iran has your asymmetric warfare, even the drones can do actually havoc here. And they have the mine laying capability. Okay, you are destroying their mines, etc. on the coastline. They have all their mine storage underground. You cannot reach there, and even fishing boats can. You lay the mine, you can destroy the Iranian navy. It is of no consequence. It has got only a propaganda value. So, from a military point of view, if I would like to make an assessment, I think Trump is doing only strategic posturing as of now. It's not possible for him to carry out this operation, and he also knows it, because he has an excellent set of military commanders who would be advising him on the feasibility of such an operation, and I don't think it is possible. And I've just explained you the constraints of the terrain and etc. everything. So, a right way to go about is to discuss. As Netanyahu is also mentioning that's a futuristic thing, from Oman. He's trying to actually hint that from Oman and you into that Arabian Sea and all, you will be able to make a pipeline and all. So that take years. So I don't think, and it has to go through a number of countries. Saudi Arabia will also get involved into that entire thing. Yemen is also there, right next door to give you the problems because in
Okay.
case Houthis are there, they can interdict that pipeline from Yemen also. So we have to take into account all possibilities, and I would conclude by saying that in such a restricted space, sea mines play a very important role. Drone swarms, and we have had examples of these drone swarms being used by the Iranians, and especially the Shahid 136 drones, which have not been able to be picked up by the American air defense system. We have seen the kind of damage to the
Okay.
oil field. And my last point, Karthikeyan, that a moment America attempts to do this kind of a thing, Iran is going to retaliate. All the oil fields, the pars, south pars, etc., everything will get demolished. So
Okay.
I don't think this is a wise decision.
Anat, so is this the time for negotiations or force?
That's
I'm
what.
also in favor of negotiation. I don't think that Mr. Trump is willing to negotiate at this level. On the other hand, the public opinion in the US is opposing Trump's acts, and a force and entry of the Navy will create a lot of casualties, I guess, and the public opinion in the US will oppose this act and the entire war. So I think that Trump is looking also in-house and not just at the Iran front. I don't want to be in his shoes at the moment because the decision is very difficult. I guess that eventually negotiation is the way to go forward. But I guess that we will have to take another few days until they understand that it's doable. And I'll be happy if India will be able to be in the middle and help the parties negotiate, because without India, which is a friendly country to Iran, I don't think that they will be going for negotiation.
Anat, you are a global citizen. Ambassador Sikri in previous conversation made a very important point. I'm sure the war is happening in Gulf, but entire world is paying the price. And, they have not decided to go in for the war. They did not decide to go in for all the military action. Don't you think that from the perspective of Israel, it's impacting its entire image globally? A sympathy which was there for Israel post-Hamas attack does not exist now. The entire world stood with Israel. When Hamas attacked Israel, killed 1,600 civilians. The entire global mood has changed.
I beg to disagree with you. I mean, the world was favoring Israel only on October 7, and after in the Gaza war, the public opinion globally was not in favor of Israel. So we're used to being disliked for so long. I think that we are and the US are doing a favor to the world, because you saw Iran attacking their neighbors. They were sending a missile towards Turkey, towards Cyprus. They are playing the bully in the neighborhood. So I don't, of course we care about our public image, but we also care about the fact that they want to annihilate the state of Israel. So it's not wise to be nice. And eventually, and I'm sitting now in the shelter and I'm expecting a siren, and they continue and they want to kill me. So what do I need to be nice? I guess that it's not the right thing to do at the moment, be nice, but we need to be active, and that's what we are doing along with the US.
Okay, thank you, Anand. Thank you so much, and stay safe.